All right, everybody, and welcome back for another Tip for Tuesday. So I love doing these. I got my boy Ronnie here with me today. He's always bringing some great insights, some great tips. So appreciate you, man. And it's what we like to do on Tuesday. Just kind of talk a little bit about like, hey, here are some tips. Here's some things that help us out. Hope they can help you out as well. Something that we want to talk about today is your purchase agreement. So basically just having a purchase agreement that is get it reviewed by a title company, someone that works for a title company. Make sure even if you have to give them a little bit of money to help for their time, make an appointment, whatever it may be. A lot of them, if they're investor-friendly title companies anyway, they're going to review it for free because they want to be the one that's working with you. It's a great way to build a rapport and stuff with a title company as well. But just making sure it's reviewed. I know we've run into a couple of situations where just some of the purchase agreements were just like, what does this say or what does this mean? And the people that are using them that are kind of reviewing it through us are like, oh, I don't know. Like, don't review it through us. Take it to a title company. Like, get it reviewed through them. So, Ronnie, you want to talk about a couple of those things that maybe you've just kind of seen on some of these purchase agreements that it's not necessarily wrong. It's not necessarily that it can't be used. I know title companies that have done deals on like cocktail napkins and paper bags, stuff like that. They can make it work, but you want to make sure it's smooth, effortlessly. You know, it's possible. But making sure mainly that this is your seller's livelihood. It's their home. You want to make sure that they know what's informed and make sure that contract makes sense for them. So, Ronnie, sorry, I kind of went on a little tangent there, but
no, it's okay because we're passionate about this thing. You know, we're passionate about making sure that things are right, and that's okay. I mean, but Brian hit it recently. You know, I've run into a couple of couple of deals we've closed where the contract was a little gray and a little convoluted, and we weren't really sure, even down to where we're talking about the purchase price. Does it say purchase price? This one didn't. It just said cash to seller. So what does that mean? Because if you're doing things through in some of the title companies we use, cash to seller means this is exactly what they're getting in their hand, and that would negate any liens or anything like that. I mean that we would be paying for that on top of, like, wait, that's not what we agreed to. So you definitely want to do that. Keep those relationships with those title companies. Some title companies even have wholesaler packets, that you can go and you can get, and you can use those. So you want to make sure who's covering the closing costs. Are the taxes on there? Are they prorated, not prorated? What's going on? You want to make sure some of those things are highlighted in the outline. Also, make sure I have seen some purchase agreement that doesn't even have the address on there. We just have the seller's name and their phone number, but we don't have the proper subject address that we're actually in property that we're actually talking about. So you want to make sure that you have those key fundamental items. When are we closing? We need to know all of those things on the purchase agreement. So just having some of those key things on the purchase agreement can help things go a long way and make sure the seller understands what's going on, the buyer understands what's going on, and the title company knows exactly what's going on. So they're not calling you 4 and 5 times and things are getting weird at the closing table because we've seen it.
Oh, 100%. And just like you said, like sometimes some title companies like maybe have a package or something that they'll sell contracts, or a lawyer in your area will do that. That's something that within wholesaling, they always say like, hey, you can do it with no money. You don't have any money. You don't need any money to wholesale. Like, that's all possible. But if you have some money and you want to put money into it, that's one of the first things I'm going to do is put money into, make sure I have my contracts are solid. They're good to go. Now, this is not saying that you can definitely pull contracts off of, Bigger Pockets, different websites, different platforms that you've used. I've seen a lot of them are floating around. You can get some for free off the interwebs and stuff like that, which is great. You can definitely use those. But if you're using them, take them to a title company, just sit down and say, hey, is this contract, is it going to fly with you guys? Would you close a company, or would you close a property on here? Is there anything I need to include on here? Just like I said, great way to build rapport, great way to build relationships, but also just making sure that you know what you're doing, you understand what's in that contract, and you can explain to your seller so they understand it, because that is the most important thing. You're dealing with people's lives, very important stuff. So make sure that purchase agreement that you're using, it works, and it works for everybody involved. So thanks a lot for joining us here on Tip for Tuesday. We'll see you guys back next week.